Just because I'm presuming that I could be kind of human if I only had a heart.
This is my first live. So there's a tad bit of excitement in me. I'll taper it. So here are my opening statements. There is nothing more important to me than context. Depriving a person of their narrative and the way in which they present their authenticity is one of the most unfair and corrupt forms of debate and discourse imaginable. So here, tonight, what we are going to do is give Joe Rogan his context. But in that same spirit of fairness, we are also going to unpack his bullshit too. Now, I initially was going to make this about Whoopi and the white passing Jews and white Jews to whom she was referencing on The View, but this subject moved me, and so here we are. This live will be reposted in snippets on my other social media platforms, and it will be reposted here after I end it and edit it to meet my particulars. That said, let's get to it.
There's a video that's out. It's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast. It's all smushed together, and it's horrible, even to me. Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word.
Now, I would fast forward it, but again, like I said, context is very important, and I don't want to deprive this man of his context. So let him have at it.
Never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years. But for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing.
Context.
Like that context was part of the clip we were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. Or I was quoting a Lenny Bruce bit, or I was quoting a Paul Mooney bit, or I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction. Or I was talking about how a Netflix executive, ironically, used it because he was trying to compare it to another offensive word, and he said it out loud, and they fired him. Not calling anybody or just saying the word out loud. I was also talking about how there's not another word like it in the entire English language, because it's a word where only one group of people is allowed to use it, and they can use it in so many different ways. Like if a white person says that word, it's racist and toxic, but a black person can use it, and it could be a punchline, it could be a term of endearment, it could be lyrics to a rap song, it could be a positive affirmation. It's a very unusual word.
Well, I'm going to stop him here. Again, I want to give him his context. And keep in mind that I'm going to be scrolling down after this self-fulfilling apology of his to the video right underneath of this, to what he actually said, right? It wasn't as thoughtful as this that he's saying. But keep in mind all the people that he's referencing, Red Fox and so on. These are all black people, right? That's context. Further context. The word was used to dehumanize, debase, and rape a people of their humanity. Black people, like we have historically done with everything, have taken the absolute worst that can be done to us, and we've turned it around on the people who sought to undo us with it. It made it something good. Something that, as opposed to tearing us down and corrupting us, it builds us up. that speaks to our defiance, not white people's defiance, not Latino people's defiance, not Indian or Native American people's defiance. No, that was a particular word leveled against a particular group of people, and that particular group of people took that word and turned it back on the heads of the people who were using it to tear them down with. That word in the hands and the mouth wielded by a white man means what it has always meant. It means death. It means nigger. It means lesser than, 3/5 of a human being, right? It means inferior. It means get on the sidewalk. It means lower your gaze. It means half a penny to feed you and half a penny to bury you. That's what that word means in the mouth and the hands and at the utility of a white man or a Spanish man or an Indian man or anybody who's not goddamn black. That's what that word means, period. But let him keep going.
But it's not my word to use.
You can say that again.
I'm well aware of that now. But for years I used it in that manner. I never
Context. Remember context.
use it to be racist because I'm not racist. But whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, dub. And I clearly dub. And that's my intention to express myself in this video, to say, there's nothing I can do to take that back. I wish I could. Obviously, that's not possible. I do hope that, if anything, that this can be a teachable moment. Because I never thought it would ever be taken out of context and put in a video like that. And now that it is, it looks bad. And it's part of also me doing this podcast for thousands of hours, thousands of episodes, over 12 years. I said a lot of fucking stupid, which is fine when you're talking about most things, but not when you're talking about race. And there's another clip.
No, we'll stop him right there. We'll get back to the other clip for those who haven't seen it. Let's get it right here real quick, and let's play what he said.
Your intent. Your intent. When you say the N word, you're saying like, it cannot be spoken. It cannot be uttered. It is a sacred word. Yeah. It is a magic word. If you say it, Candyman will come. You know, it's very weird. It's very weird that we've ever allowed that. It's one thing, like, you could say spick. No one's gonna get mad. You know, like, it's not as racially charged. You know. Yeah. And then there's other ones that, like, you can just get away with all day, like Irish ones or Italian ones, or Guido, or they don't give a fuck. Yeah, you can call me a Guido all day. I don't give a fuck. No one cares. Shank is a tough one. They get very upset about Shank's rough. Yeah. Gook. How about gook? That's a rough one. Oh, that's a really rough one. Yeah, but the N word, you won't say it. Look at you. Say it. Nigger.
So, unpacking that, right? Real quick, context. One, this man at this point in time is nearing his 50s or in his 50s, right? The human brain begins to calcify itself at the age of 4. If that's when you begin to form your identity. And that's normally when the children get into that phase of mine, everything's mine, right? Everything that comes after that is to just reaffirm that beginning interpretation of self. Here, this man has spent 40 plus years in this headspace, right? Spick didn't make him laugh like that. Goop didn't make him laugh like that. Guido didn't make him laugh like that. But look at how the word nigger just touched that white man deep in his funny bone. Look at how that word just struck him so uniquely different than every other word that he said was in the same category as nigger, right? But I'm going to go back to what he initially said. What did this white man initially say? He said, I don't know how we let them do this, right? Meaning, right? And I'm not speaking for him. I'm giving him the strength of his own words. Meaning, how did we, as white people, the people who cannot use the word, allow these black people to tell us we cannot use this word. Implied in that is we're in the superior class here. We're the superior race here. They're not. They're not in a position to tell us we can't use this. This is a word we created for them. How can they tell us that we can't use it? Right? But the funny thing I also find unique about this man is that you had Kevin Hart on your show. He is the epitome of humor and not taking anything serious. You had Dave Chappelle on your show. Here's a man who made skits about the N-word and made himself a black blind Klansman. And you never once thought to have this conversation with him. Hey, man, why can't we call you nigger? I mean, we created the word. Why can't we use the word? Like, why can't we? You notice that. You notice all these conversations, all these little snippets coming out about this man. Every last one of them is him talking to another white man. There's no black people here. And implied in that is, it brings us back to what he initially said. I don't know how we, in that we is not black people. It is all white people. So it's not a conversation for black people. He doesn't want to have this conversation with black people. This is a conversation between him and his other so-called superiors over black people. We don't need to be concerned with how black people would interpret this. That's not even something I want to discuss with you as a black person. You don't have input in this. This is between me and my superior white people. And I would like to get to the bottom of why we have stopped or find it uncomfortable calling a black person nigger, right? In the 21st century, he's still in a confused headspace on why it is that he, as a white person or fucking Guido, cannot call a black person nigger. He's confused. Fucking fascinating. He's not confused. He's entitled, is what he is. You are dealing with an entitled white man who is not used to being told no. And to the point that individuals are talking about, well, he has a mixed daughter. Clarification on that, it is not his mixed daughter. It was the daughter, or is the daughter of the woman he's dealing with. That is not his mixed daughter, period. His stepdaughter. That's for clarity's and clarification's sake. But he's not done.
It's a charged
Nothing
word.
happened.
See, but if you this idea that you cannot look at statistics, you cannot look at facts, and in your conversation with Ezra Charles, that's what, or Ezra Klein rather, that's what I got, is that this is an ideological issue, and that you it's almost like an impossible subject to breach. Like you can't even discuss the fact that certain races demonstrate low IQ, and then let's look at what could be the cause of those.
Certain races, by that, keeping in mind, we're keeping in context, right? We're talking about black versus white versus Asian. Here's some clarity for you. Despite popular sentiment in the model minority myth, there are more geniuses being produced in Nigeria than there are anywhere else on the planet. That is a fact. And the last time I checked, even though the Chinese government is using its own particular brand of colonialism to move into Nigeria, that is not a yellow or Asian country. It isn't. It is literally the blackest of black of Africa, right? Now, as far as the implicit inferiority attached to his statement, i.e., the implication that we are somehow subordinate in intellect to others, because that's what he's talking about. And then he says, how do we get to the root cause of this, right? For starters, we have to understand that the entire premise, the rubric under which he's operating, is that of eugenics, a white man's justification for his belief that we are somehow inferior, even though everything he got, including civilization, including the concept of civilization, came from us. Even here in this country, everything that he got from us. If he was so superior in wisdom and intellect, then why didn't he build his own fucking country? Why did he need to go to so-called inferiors to get them to build his country? Right? Why did he steal all the patents from black people and put them in his own name? Why did he go over there into black-ass Africa to be educated and then come back and steal all the books and put them in his name and destroy and crush civilizations, generations of knowledge, so he could hold on to his false and faulty birthright? There's nothing superior about these people except their violence, except their ability to be thieves. They are superior thieves and crooks and hypocrites. There's nothing superior about them, because everything he's basing his idea of superiority on came by the way of the sword. Even their religion, even their belief system came by way of the sword. It did not come out of being civil and civilized and attempting to bridge gaps using civility. Every time in every place on this planet where they went, they spread their brand of democracy and civilization by the sword. That is the only way and in the only fashion he and his ilk and the people who think like him are superior to us, because we have a built-in passivity. As for the black people that are here in this country, it was bred into us. And for the others around the world, it was colonized into them. But we have a civility inside of us that they don't have. And because they do not have it, and we do, it is always to our detriment, which is the reason why you find so many black people, irrespective of what this man just said and says and thinks and feels, are coming out and saying how he's not racist. India Arie even backpedaled and stepped away. Oh, it's not racist. It was the COVID-19 misinformation. Whatever. Let's get back to this delightful man.
Even discussing that somehow or another is so inherently racist that it must be ignored, it must be silenced, and that you must first concentrate on all the various injustices that have been done to those people who have this lower IQ. Yeah.
And it's fucking funny. Isn't that funny? So this is what he's saying, right? Why should we, in the 21st century, worry about what our fathers, forefathers, forebearers, and ancestors did in the 19th, 20th, 18th, 17th, and 16th century? You know, those pesky little laws that were on the books for the better part of half a millennia, which said that black people couldn't read, the segregated schools, which gave us the hand-me-down books from the white schools, right? Yeah, that's what he's talking about. You know, it may have came out in a certain degree, in a certain tenor of fluidity, to where it might have went over a lot of the coons that follow this man's heads, which only goes to prove his point, right? It proves his point. There are a lot of black people who possess an inferior motherfucking idea in their head when it comes to white people. And it can be borne out very easily to see how they treat black people. All these black fucking people coming out and defending this man, defending him, talking about, oh, well, the only reason why they're doing this is because of his anti-vax speech. So the fuck what? So what? And the only reason why they went after Hitler is because he put the fucking Jews in the gas chambers. They didn't have no problem with that motherfucking man until he did that shit, and they couldn't ignore it anymore. So fucking what? So Hitler wasn't a racist, megalomaniacal, savage beast before he started gassing the fucking Jews and the gypsies? No? Broken ass black logic. Flawed ass black logic. And you coon ass fucking Negroes only prove this devil ass motherfucker's point. I am not an anomaly. The way my mind functions is not anomalous. There are a legion of people just like me. And I got to pull back on what I want to say about you coon motherfuckers, but you people are disgusting to me. You people are fucking disgusting to me. that you would come out and you would support this motherfucker, and he's calling you inferior. He's calling you inferior. To your fucking face, he's calling you inferior. And your dumb, simple-minded coon ass runs smooth up his. Only reason why they's saying this is because of X, Y, and Z. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Shut your funky coon ass up. But let's get back to this delightful cracker, please.
Let me just take a couple minutes to this gene that Black American, Africans have, like much. It's like a proclivity to violence that they have.
MAOA gene.
Yeah. I recommend people Google it and do their own research. It's like a big debate about whether or not. But basically, like what it is it's, if you think about like kind of white European, Asian ancestors as we kind of moved out of Africa. Like aggression and violence was kind of less necessary because we were like farmers and stuff.
But God, is that really true though? I mean, you look at all the violence and murder and death that's been done by the military, and you think about how many people involved in the military are white and how many people making the decisions are white. I mean, ultimately, that's white people causing violence.
True, but
on a large scale.
So anyway, we
delightful pause. A very delightful and intriguing pause. Now, here's a very interesting point, right? You notice how he hops to the military, and he goes directly to the military, but the man doesn't speak about the lynchings. He doesn't speak about the lynchings domestically. He immediately goes to the military and removes America's bloody hands from the equation. And he starts talking about the military. Fuck the military. What about America, right? What about the genocides that happened in America? What about the bombings of communities in America, Black communities, all done by white people? What about the Ku Klux Klan? What about neo-Nazis? What about fucking Charlottesville? What about the infiltration of fucking law enforcement with white nationalists? Which shouldn't come as a surprise to no goddamn body. And this motherfucker thinks he's doing us a favor, trying to appear fair. There was more than enough information here in America domestically showing and proving that you are a savage people. A savage people. Go and read Christopher Columbus's journal when he met the Native Americans. He was confused why it was that they were so innocent and kind and loving and sharing. And his immediate European mind said, wow, we can take advantage of them. We can benefit ourselves over them far more easier than we initially thought. And then immediately went about the process of fucking ethnically cleansing the entire fucking region. They talk about scalpings and they put that off onto the natives and how the natives were savages, and that's bullshit. If you read history, when the pilgrims came over here, they were not familiar with the nets. They didn't have horses and things like that, so they scalped the natives and used their fucking hair as whips to whip the flies away. That is a documented fact. You can find that. They would cut the women's breasts off and use them as tobacco pouches. That is a fact. Go and find it. It is a fact. They ate us. Read a book called The Delectable Negro. They literally fucking ate us. Read about what they did to Nat Turner. They skinned this man, ate him, boiled rendered the fat in his body down to oil. Lynchings was not 2 or 3 fucking people. It was thousands. They sent out postcards. They suspended school for the day so children, white children, could participate in it and sit back and take pictures. That's why for every lynching you ever see, you see a bunch of fucking white kids in it, smiling and holding their faces up and looking and grimacing and all this other stuff. But you don't see not one face being held, forced to look at it. They're all looking at it willfully, voluntarily, gleefully. That's their children. These are the people we're dealing with right fucking now. In Congress and all these other places, passing laws and telling us what is and is not fucking fair. The balls of this stinking ass fucking devil. bait and switch. But like I said, let's go back to this delightful ass cracker.
We can't go there. So I go, we gotta go to one where there's Planet of the Apes. I'm gonna go see Planet of the Apes. So I look on the iPhone.
Oh, this isn't fair. Pardon self. Like I said, I do want to be fair to this devil. So let's go back and let's get his apology, please. I want to be fair to this motherfucker.
There's a video that's out. It could be a positive affirmation word, but it's not for that now. Don't ever use it to be racist.
Yeah, you never
You're in a
use.
situation where you have to say, I'm not racist. Duh. And I clearly duh. And that's my intention to express myself in this video, to say there's nothing I can do to take that back.
Shut the fuck up.
Because I never thought it would ever be taken out of context.
Shut the fuck up.
For thousands of hours, thousands of
Shut the fuck
things, but not when you're talking about race. And there's another clip that I have to address.
Let's get to that.
There's a clip from 11 years ago. I was telling a story in the podcast about how me and my friend Tommy and his girlfriend, we got really high. We were in Philadelphia, and we went to go see Planet of the Apes. And we didn't know where we were going. We just got dropped off by a cab, and we got dropped off in this all-black neighborhood. And I was trying to make the story entertaining, and I said, we got out, and it was like we were in Africa. It's like we were in Planet of the Apes. I did not, nor would I ever say that black people are apes, but it sure fucking sounded like that. And I immediately afterwards said, that's a racist thing to say. Planet of the Apes wasn't even in Africa. I was just saying.
Shut the fuck up. So that's it with that. We're going to slide into this one and get back to this delightful hunky over here. And this is what he actually said.
The death that's been done by the military. And you think about how many people involved in the military are white and how many people making decisions are white. I mean, ultimately, that's white people causing violence. True, but like large scale. So anyway, we can't go there. So I go, we got to go to one where there's Planet of the Apes. We're going to go see Planet of the Apes. So I look on the iPhone now, and it says, okay, take me to this one. And the guy goes, okay. I go, is that in a good neighborhood? He's like, oh, yeah. Guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out. And we're giggling, oh, there's the Planet of the Apes. We walked into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door, and there was no white people. There was no white people.
All right. So now keep in mind, he just said in his apology that he wasn't talking about the black people. That's not what he was talking about. He was just saying in a kind of funny, jokey kind of way to white people. Keep it in mind. There are no black people he's talking to. There's not a black person in here. It's just him and other devils getting a good inside joke out of something, right? At our expense. And here he says he walked into Africa. That's what he's saying. He walked into Africa by being dropped off. No, pardon self. Let's clarify. He was dropped off in Africa and he walked into Planet of the Apes. Following his line of syntax. Then when he meant it, not this bullshit apology, when he meant it, following his line of syntax. Syntax is how words are structured. It's their meaning. That's how you follow a person's logic to its conclusive end, right? So if I say it's raining outside, you cannot interpret that to mean there's sunshine, right? That's just a small snippet of how syntax functions. So if I say I walked into a movie theater and I walked into Planet of the Apes and all there was black people, my nigga, there is no conceivable way that you can later on say that I was not saying that those black people were not apes. None. And here we have it now where he's trying to clean it up. And the problem that I have with the Kleenex, right, is that it's black people handing it to him. There's a whole bunch of black hands out there forgiving this man. But then to give that smoke back to Whoopi Goldberg, right? Let's go to Whoopi Goldberg. And let's address Whoopi. Because you see how a whole bunch of people are talking about how Whoopi Goldberg got that's what she get for always shucking and jiving for massa. That's what she get for always downing black people and this, that, and the other thing. Dude, The unfortunate part about this is that a lot of people don't understand code and how to get on code. A lot of black people don't understand code. I don't give a fuck if I disagree with Whoopi Goldberg on any other day. If I see white people going in on her, if I see my enemy targeting her and beating her down, I'm not going to join their fucking ranks. Deliberately, by mistake or otherwise, I'm not going to join their ranks. I'm not going to add to that fire and beat that woman into the fucking ground. We have way more than enough people willing to do that already. We don't need to add to that. And yet and still, that's what you find in these fucking coon Negroes. Fuck Whoopi Goldberg. That's what she get. Now she's getting her karma. I don't give a... Then say that to a black person. Don't put that on social media. Say that. Keep that in-house. You have no couth. But then when this motherfucker does this funky shit, that this is a long fucking untapped source of racism that a lot of people are just being put on to. I don't fucking watch no goddamn Joe Rogan. Don't nobody know what this motherfucking white man was talking about, but a lot of you coon Negroes did and do. And then they have the audacity, like the sister said yesterday, Michi X. They have the audacity to talk about some motherfucking, oh, why didn't y'all guys say anything? Y'all, all this time, y'all ain't say nothing until now. Motherfucker, you was the only nigga watching him. Wasn't nobody else watching this man. You were watching him. Why didn't you say something? Why doesn't a white man calling you nigger and nigger with the hard R or the A, motherfucker, but the hard R, calling you a nigger, saying that you are slow of wit and it's a race thing, not a historical thing, not a governmental thing, not something by design at the hands of one of the most evil and wickedest motherfucking governments on this planet? Absolutely not. No, it's a race thing. It is because of your race you are inferior to me. And you can sit back and listen to that and subscribe to this motherfucker. And then now, later on, in your broken, feeble, fucking Negro form, have the audacity to speak into our black chambers and talk about why didn't we say something? Nigga, why didn't you tell us it? Why didn't you share that on social media? You're going to sit back and fucking defend this man. He has zero for you. You are a come-up, motherfucker. Ad revenue. Views on social media. Fucking pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And like I said initially, I was going to speak about Whoopi Goldberg. This was going to be about Whoopi Goldberg. I prepared my entire live to address that because there's a lot that can be said there. A lot. But then when I seen this, it moved me. It moved me. And I felt it, that it was my responsibility to say something in my own way of saying it. Everybody has their own shit to speak on, whatever it is they're speaking on. But this moved me. And if I have a voice and that voice can reach and touch whoever, then let it reach and touch whoever. But I'm going to speak on it. Period. This motherfucker literally shitted on us. And to have someone like India Aries, this beautiful, black, melanated, soulful, neo-soul speaking black motherfucker, come out and talk about this nigga's not racist? Damn, that's such a letdown. That is such a letdown because I assume the greatness of my people. I assume it. I don't assume inferiority like these motherfuckers do. I assume the warrior, the queen, the king in you. I assume that is my default, and I'm going to die with that default. This sister let me down big time. Big time. And it's the worst thing about these. One thing, I don't want to get long-winded, and I really want to contain myself here. But the thing about we are not a capitalistic people. We can be capitalistic because we need to be in this society, but by default, we're not. We are a communal people, right? We are a loving people, and we are a warrior class of people. Capitalism takes the black person because capitalism was created to justify slavery. There are books, comprehensive books on the topic, which is the reason why you find a lot of white people willing to fight and die behind that ideology, that financial ideology of capitalism. Because capitalism at its core says, I have the right to do whatever I want to you if you can't stop me from doing it. That's it. Fuck reading 50,000 books on the topic. That's the crux and core of capitalism. And capitalism takes the black person and turns them inside out. It turns a black person white from the inside out. Now you start thinking individualistic and selfish and short-sighted. For India Ari to back off of her position, to say that Joe Rogan isn't racist, you pulled all your shit down because of the racist shit that came out. And then you say, oh, I did it for misinformation. Because it was misinformation. Joe Rogan isn't racist. Really? So being called an ape by a white man in America, it's not racist? No, it's just bigoted or prejudiced, or it was miseducated or stupid, whatever you want to say. Oh, no, oh, okay. Being called a nigger too, right? That doesn't have any historical bite to you. That can just hit you and move straight over your head, right? Pathetic. But she's thinking about the bag. And if you can be bought and sold, beloved, then you are a slave. I don't care what clothes you're wearing. I don't care where you're living. I don't care who your friends are. I don't care where in the world you can go. If a motherfucker can buy and sell you, you are a slave. You just have better clothes on. That's it.